Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for your AEW Dynamite post-show. It is February 19th. We've got Kentucky's own Sean Ross Sapp joining us at the top of this show to talk about some scoops. Alex and I are going to drive through the rest of the show on what I thought was a really fun Dynamite, super hot opening. Orange Cassidy coming back, plenty to talk about. Lady meat, if we can call it that. Some lady hosses on the show with Megan Bain and Chris Statlander. So I'm excited to dig into this. I'm sure we'll get more from Alex as well, but we've got Sean at the top of the show to talk about some scoops. So get in those super chats, get in your Humper Chats at humperchats.com. We're also going to ask you to leave a thumbs up on this video. It helps people find us in the algorithm. We're also 127,000 subscribers strong. If you aren't subscribed, it really helps us out. You also get notifications and exclusive content as well. But speaking of exclusives, we've got Sean here to run down some exciting stuff. And I'm actually going to pull up this super chat because it kind of kicks us off with one of the things that we want to talk about. Hannah saying, what do you think Gabe Kidd does on Collision? I saw someone on Twitter suggest he flattens Max Caster, and now for some reason I need it. Do you think we see a contract announced? So that was something that you wanted to talk about, Sean, and Gabe Kidd really picking up a tremendous amount of value, not only in that match with Kenny Omega, but really building his stock kind of in New Japan. One of the most compelling wrestlers, one of the most pro wrestling feeling guys I think we have going right now. But I would like to see him mop the floor with Max Caster. I think that could be a whole heck of a lot of fun. But what did you want to talk about with us and Gabe Kidd here?
I've been a proponent of Gabe Kidd's for, over like 3 years now. I did an interview with him a number of years ago, and as soon as we went off the air, I was like, yeah, we're going to be talking a lot. And now it's like almost every 6 months, Gabe Kidd's like, he just shouts at me, let's talk, and I set up a stream. Last week, I did one with he and Mance Warner, a little bit in character, but it didn't stay in character for long if you saw how their match unfolded at JCW, because it was so violent. And, of course, I wanted to be a part of that, but he is a guy that I think is going to transcend New Japan, and I think that, I mean, honestly, the way that he told that story with Kenny Omega opened an awful lot of eyes to the way that he can tell stories. And I was a little bit surprised to see this, because there had been people in New Japan who had, like, when Chris Charlton got suspended, they were like, yeah, probably just a catalyst for all the shit that Gabe said. And I was like, damn, really? Really? But then if you talk to people in AEW, they claim that Tony had no problem with it, all that stuff. He understood it was a story beat. But if you have never watched Gabe Kidd, if you have never heard Gabe Kidd, go listen to the interviews I have done with Gabe Kidd. He is, in all the right ways, the Conor McGregor of pro wrestling. And I mean that in the right ways, not the horrible ways that we have come to know Conor McGregor. He, every time he talks, he is ready to sell a fight. Anybody, I mean, the way that he says it is, anybody who agrees to face him, it then becomes personal, because to him, you should just simply reject the idea of fighting him. It would make his life much easier. But I was honestly a little surprised to see that Gabe Kidd was coming back to AEW. I wasn't surprised to see that he was in ROH a while back, but now that all this unfolded, him being in AEW was a little bit surprising to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens on Collision as well. He put on one of the most compelling time limit draws you'll ever see with Tsuji at New Japan New Beginning. Some really, really great work that he's been doing over the course of the past couple of years, but also of recent. And speaking of New Japan, someone that has been working New Japan, someone that we've seen in TNA Impact as well, you released on Fightful Select a little bit of an update on Kevin Knight's future, Sean.
Yeah, FightfulSelect.com, best $6 a month in the business, or $64 a year in the business. We've got a Discord, we got post shows, especially with these two down here. We got them on there as well. But a story that I broke yesterday was that New Japan was still actively talking to talent about a new deal. And I have a lot of people recently say, what about Dave Finlay? Well, he is announced for some March shows. But one that I had been keeping my eye on is Kevin Knight, because Kevin Knight's deal actually expired before he dropped the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. And what has he not done since then? He hasn't wrestled in New Japan. He has wrestled in MLW. He has wrestled in AEW. I think maybe ROH. Can't remember which one. But that's not out of the ordinary. He was doing that even while under New Japan contract. And New Japan has been in contact with him, but that's not it. He met with Tony Khan and Rocky Romero, which definitely seems like a two-pronged situation. If you're meeting with Rocky Romero and Tony Khan, you are clearly talking about continuing work with New Japan. New Japan, from what I understand, wants to keep him. If you take one look at him, you see his work, you see what kind of shape he keeps himself in, you see how tall he is, you see how he looks, you're like, okay, well, that's probably going to be a person that WWE wants as well. I haven't necessarily heard that, but I have heard that he is making overtures to explore his options there. I honestly respect the approach that I have heard that he has made. He has talked with New Japan. He has talked with AEW. And from what I understand, he's making sure that he explores all of his options. This is what I think a lot of talent should be doing, especially one on their own like this. I don't know if he's working with a rep or anything like that, but then you see the amount of attention that gets, and you see how many people are quote tweeting the Fightful Select story and saying he'd fit in AEW, he'd fit in WWE, he hurts people, stuff like that. Oh, he can be a big part of New Japan. And he can. Like, if New Japan is really looking to reload on their foreign talent that can compete at a convincing high level, I think Kevin Knight is right there. And then you got MLW just kind of snooping around, and they'll continue to use him if they can, obviously. TNA used him while he was in New Japan. So, like, if he talks to WWE and for some reason they make him an offer, which I haven't heard, that's one thing. Otherwise, I think there's a real possibility you see this man working AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, TNA, MLW in one of those things, because he's going to continue to be a fella in very high demand.
Yeah, I think he's a really, really dynamic and complete wrestler. So there's a lot of landscapes he would fit in. We're seeing Takeshita have 3 contracts right now, too. I think there's a lot of possibilities in this open landscape that are a lot of fun, honestly, to get to see talent pop up in all these different environments. But let's throw it to some rumors. Okay, we had some confirmed news with Kevin Knight, but there were rumors that Danielson was backstage. Now, I figure Danielson's got to be around because they released that Death Riders plain white T-shirt, and I was like, that feels like a very pointed shot.
Well, listen, if he's not getting a cut of that, I don't know what we're doing here. But this is one I sent to our moderator Luis, is something I wanted to approach, because there were a lot of people in the FightfulSelect.com Discord that were asking me about Danielson being backstage. So I've got an interview that I actually haven't dropped with Danielson yet because we haven't needed to. There's nothing timely in it, but it was in Dallas at the All-In Ticketing event. We had some like filming issues and I've recovered it. I'll probably drop it Revolution Week, but he told me like he's around a little bit. Like he's still working with AEW, and he said he'll be at All In. He just doesn't know in what capacity. But like, this isn't out of the ordinary for him to be backstage. I don't think he's going to be there all the time, but he is still working with AEW in, like, I believe, a creative capacity. So every so often you're going to get those types of reports, which I think at this stage, like, we're not going to write a whole new article on it. Like tonight, I don't know if he was there or not, but like, he's been there quite a few times since he left. And I don't know if he is going through rehab on his neck or if he had surgery or whatever that may be. I know he wanted to rehab it, but this is just something that's kind of common for him at this stage. Like it's not out of the ordinary for him to be backstage.
The Fightful Select Discord, where you can get such information, that must just be so expensive, Sean.
It's only $6. Only $6, Kate. Only $6, if you can believe that. Instead of, listen, we are your favorite wrestling channels, favorite wrestling news source. Whether you get your stuff on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on Facebook, on YouTube, they're all citing Fightful Select. It's only $6. And you might go, who on earth would pay for wrestling news? Well, first off, people who want to support us. We appreciate that. But also people that want to interact with a wonderful community. And by the way, a wonderfully positive community. I don't mean like that toxic positivity stuff, but just some really good, wonderful, smart people to engage with. I love getting in that Discord. I'm doing it more and more. But I do Q&As there every week. I do at least 1 or 2 exclusive news articles a day. Like we'll randomly drop like MLW news, MLW contract news at 10 at night, like last night. All kinds of good stuff over at Fightful Select. But I did have somebody message me and they say, why are you doing the news bit at the top of the show? Because I had like my equivalent of a day off, which is where somebody goes, hey, come to a Kentucky basketball game with me. And I go, yeah, okay. Then I come home and watch Dynamite anyway. Yeah. And, but I did not focus on it to the level of which an Alex Pawlowski or a Kate do. So I just wanted to come and drop some scoops. What else you got, Kate? You got anything else for me?
I sure do. Well, we also have this chat from Vicky that addresses you and Alex. So get in chats like this. But Vicky, always so supportive of us.
Happy birthday week to Vicky. By the way, her birthday was on Friday, and I want to tell her happy birthday, even though I already did personally.
Well, happy birthday to Vicky. We appreciate you around here so much. But she says, fun show. Do you think that they involve Renee in this thing with Mox at some point? Too many spots with her being referred to or almost getting hit. Involving Renee would add more stakes. Beth, maybe. It was addressed to you guys, so I'll throw it to the peanut gallery.
I don't, because I think they are setting up, first off, Willow to be one of the foils for Marina. Like Willow is as AEW as it gets. I think Alex and I discussed this. Yeah. But I think Beth is a typical opponent for Marina, somebody that a lot of people have pointed out. But like, I don't see Renee getting involved in a physical capacity. I think that I think her thing is that she is so professional that it overcomes everything. But Alex, I'm interested to see what you think.
I mean, the idea of like somehow involving Beth as though Beth would hold Renee hostage or something so that Moxley would agree to whatever stipulation that Cope wants for a match at Revolution kind of... Listen, I already think they did a whole bunch of damage to that match by having Cope be the one to take the loss in the Brisbane Brawl. So I thought maybe they were pivoting from a match that I didn't have any interest in, but no, they're just building to it weird. So I wouldn't do Beth Phoenix getting involved with... Renee has been so good about like, I am being professional here. He is my husband. He is different at home. That is all I will say. He is not this guy at home. If he was, we'd have problems, but I'm just trying to keep this totally 100% profesh. And so far she is. So I hope they don't need to move it to something else, but they might at some point if it becomes a deal.
Yeah, I also just personally, if Beth Phoenix is going to come around AEW, I want to see Beth Phoenix as Beth Phoenix fighting like Athena or someone, because AEW hasn't had that. There hasn't been a women's legend that has been able to elevate things in the way that some of the other men's legends have been around. So I think that would be awesome. But DNC Digital asking how to get into the Discord because he's new to the subscription. Well, first of all, thank you for subscribing.
So I would, if you want access like right this second, if you're on our Fightful Select or Patreon, just type in Discord in the search bar and you'll find a few posts where there are direct instructions on how to do that. But I'll repost those throughout this week as well.
Absolutely. Well, we've got more to talk about. Get in your super chats, get in your Humber chats. Over 3,700 of you watching right now. We appreciate it. Vicky said money for Kate. Didn't know the best female journalist would be here. Well, thank you, Vicky. You're so sweet to us. But let's continue talking about some things on the show tonight. I don't know how your Kentucky basketball did, Sean, but
they won by 21, of course.
They won by 21. So it sounds like their opponent might be in the shape that Hobbs or Bill are after their street fight, because this was set up to be brutal. Any updates on their condition after this match?
So I checked and I was told Hobbs is okay. They expect Big Bill is okay. But I had a lot of people. I've honestly always got people in matches and situations like this that are asking me the condition of people. But I was told that they're all right. They're good to go. But yeah, glad to hear that, because in situations like that, you never know.
Yeah,
that is for sure. Let's talk about, you had mentioned Grand Slam, Alex, on the booking of the Brisbane Brawl. That was the only kind of glitch that I felt like they had made booking wise. I feel like everything else was pretty clean. Sean, any reaction from AEW about how they felt about how Grand Slam went? The crowd was incredible that night.
They were very happy with it. So I was told that Tony Khan was a person that pushed for the after All-Star game slot because of the lead-in.
Sure.
And WBD had recognized, well, they did pretty well with the college football lead-in. Let's see how it goes. And the early segment, like at 10:45 or 11, whenever they went on the air, like they were able to get like a million viewers watching the Omega Ospreay tag match with Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. And you got to remember, this show went until like 1-ish in the morning. Mm-hmm. And they were still able to do an average of 500,000. Now, obviously that tapered way down as it went really late, but AEW, I was told, was very, very happy with this number. They were happy with the lead in. They recognized that Saturday night with the NBA All-Star game was not only a lead in, but a completely different audience than they would usually get. And they were very happy with how it ended up. Like, listen, Saturday nights are not a good time slot. Saturday night at 11, not usually a good time slot. But if you can get Saturday night right after the All-Star game, which is like it, and not the All-Star game, honestly, way better than the All-Star game, the 3-point contest, the dunk contest, something that people actually watch and give a little bit of attention to these days. That's a positive. So I know they were happy with how that played out. And imagine how happy they would have been if they did it in like a 30-by-30 ring.
Oh my gosh, it would have been so much better. Honestly, they would have averaged 1 million the whole episode. But we have seen a couple more things. Guys, get in your super chats and humper chats. We're going to let Sean get out of here in a moment. But a couple of things. The Opps coming together. I just feel like Samoa Joe being back is such a healthy thing for this product. But I love the name, the Opps. And then we also heard this really different and kind of fun theme. Mikey Ruckus continuing to kill it. Very polar opposite receptions, it feels like, on how music is. But these themes have really come to life. I think Private Party getting shots back was a really good call. Obviously, what's happened with the Hurt Syndicate has taken off in a new way. I love Ricochet's, but this Opps theme I thought was fantastic, Sean.
So I included this just to hit Alex with the, why would they do that? Because Alex and I had noticed in recent weeks that ever since Action Bronson was taking shots at AEW, Hook has not used the Action Bronson theme. So I would imagine that theme is done. I don't know if one caused the other. I don't know if like they saw him taking shots and they said, hell with that. Or if they let it lapse and then he said, let me take some shots. But like, if you go back and look at Hook's matches in recent weeks, like it has not had that theme, and he would like attack before his music started, like all kinds of stuff like that. I'm pretty convinced that those two are connected in some capacity.
Yeah, it would be quite a coincidence if that was not the case.
Yeah.
But before you get out of here, I thought this was a really, really hot opening to the show with MJF and Adam Page. This feeling like the marquee feud that it has the potential to be. This was a long segment, but this did not feel long like some of these 20-minute talking segments are prone to. Loved what we got tonight. We're going to talk about this obviously more extensively, but before you get out of here, what were your thoughts on how we opened the show tonight?
So I wanted to share my thoughts on this specifically because I have always been a proponent of MJF. While he appears to be a two-dimensional character, has many more layers than a lot of people understand, because he is supremely jealous of Hangman in the similar ways that Ricochet formerly appeared to be jealous of Swerve. Now I think Ricochet is comfortable in his own skin. Like when Swerve said, you tried to be a hero and everybody hated you, I'm the villain and they love me for it. I think at that point, Ricochet then felt completely comfortable in his own skin and is like, you're right. I'm just a piece of shit. I don't need to do this. But with MJF, he loved being loved. He really loved being loved, to the point to where a guy who refused to wrestle, would only wrestle once every few months, was pulling double duty, was doing all kinds of cutesy stuff, was going on fishing trips, let his guard down with Adam Cole. And you know, that the feud last year and the feud 2 years ago, categorically different. Just way, way, way different. But this is a guy who loved being loved. And again, Swerve and Hangman, they run parallel to each other. And it drives MJF nuts that this guy can burn down a house. And people just love him. People still want him. People view him as the guy. When MJF has, you know, done all this stuff and passed up going to WWE, within character even, and overcame an awful lot, they boo him. They say, we don't want to hear that. Like anytime he says something, like he'll make a comment about Karen Jarrett and they'll act like it's the end of the world. Hangman committed arson and they're cheering him. And it's like, okay, maybe these priorities are a little messed up. I'm loving this element of it. And I actually really like that the Hangman and Swerve feuds run very similarly in that sense, because they had a race to the bottom of their behavior. Swerve and Hangman just got completely out of control. It was like an episode of Fatal Feuds on like Investigation Discovery, like where people get upset over a dog shitting on somebody's lawn and somebody ends up dead. Like that's what Hangman and Swerve were doing. They were breaking into one another's homes and setting shit on fire. And people came out of that like, oh my, these are our guys. We love them so much. And MJF really is just like, I'm going to cheat a little and talk about your wife. And people boo him. And I love that MJF is almost like the Drew McIntyre-esque, like, you guys realize there's an order of operation. Like there's a hierarchy of how terrible people act, right? And I'm not that bad, but he won't say that. He won't let you think that he cares, but he does care. He cares a lot. I am very excited for this. It could use a lot more Jeff Jarrett, but you know.
Agreed, disagree on certain things, but I agree with you. I loved the pointing out of the hypocrisy of the crowd, but also that it's almost like when you're in middle school and it's like, you have a crush on so-and-so. It's like, no, I don't. It's like, You're mad that the crowd doesn't like you. No, I'm not. Like there's this like very just automatic response that's so defensive. It lets you know. I love the layers that are building out with MJF, and I love how dialed in both of these guys are on each other as well. Because Hangman had, feel like MJF's number. I thought MJF had Hangman's number a little bit. I really feel like this is a very productive use of two of your top stars. But we're gonna let Sean get out of here.
One moment. Before he leaves, she's got to answer this one though.
For SRS, what's Gabe's status? I am looking into it. So 2 nights ago, I had reported that New Japan had initiated contact with a lot of these talent, but I have not confirmed that one of them have signed. I have not confirmed that Dave Finlay, Gabe Kidd. So that's the funny thing. Like I'll report every January, this contract's up, this contract's up. And then I'll have people in my messages or in the reply. Oh, don't we know that? Don't we know that? Well, okay, it's a little more valuable come February or March, but that's why these situations are happening. With Gabe Kidd, if that Tokyo Dome show, first off, didn't get New Japan to be like, yeah, so a lot of that money we were giving to Switchblade, Ospreay, maybe we should keep you around more.
Yeah.
They should, because if I were WWE and AEW, I would be trying to get him on my team. He is as sure of a thing to come out of New Japan since Ospreay, for sure. Since Ospreay. And largely a lot of people knew Ospreay before New Japan. So like that one's a little bit tougher. Like, but you want to talk about like really like cultivated by New Japan, first one in a long time that I have seen as such a surefire hit as Gabe Kidd.
Sure.
But I'm asking about it. I mean, he's going to continue to do stuff with New Japan, but there you go.
Yeah, the New Japan contract cycle still kind of ambiguous for sure. There's a lot of talent out there. Finley, you mentioned. Jeff Cobb also was kind of like hinting back and forth. So we will see.
There were people that worked the cage match last year. Sorry to interrupt, Kate, but the big cage match, they worked it without a deal. Like, I don't think Drill and Maloney had a deal back then. I'm shocked that things go as well for them as they do with New Japan. So here's a cheap plug. We have an info doc here on youtube.com/Fightful that Mike Straw did about when Nakamura, AJ, Carl Anderson, and Gallows deals were all up at the same time. But that wasn't all. Like, Tama Tonga's deal was up then too. He had the option of coming as well, and he said, hey, yo, you bring my brother over, I'll hang around. Like, I think Bad Luck Fale's deal was around or up as well. Like, that was the first time. That was the cycle that made me go, that's what I want to specialize in. I want to learn about contracts. I want to report about contracts and all that stuff. But I'm surprised that they continue their cycle the way that it is in such a competitive landscape. But up until the last couple years, it hasn't bit them as much. And they've reloaded, man. Like the recent show, the one in Osaka, that felt fresh as hell. That felt great. Like New Japan felt fully back. And I'm saying that with Hiroki Goto.
Yeah, that was the right call. And I'm like ZSJ stand number one. Like it was
I love
right
Goto.
call.
I love Goto. But yeah, guys, I've hung around here longer than I had anticipated. But I appreciate you guys for having me on my own show.
Hey, anytime you want to stop by your own show.
See you guys later.
You feel free to. But Alex, before I throw it back to you, let's give Kylie a little love. Yes. She says, Fightful and SGS, all the love. Dynamite was fun. Dynamite was fun tonight. These shows, one, we got to have Ian Riccaboni on commentary. Even as the number 3, like, God bless. Moving back to these smaller venues and reigniting these electric crowds has been incredible. But I am someone who's like, start within ring. And I liked the opening segment so much tonight.
Yeah. Just Ricardo says, hi, lovelies. Dynamite ruled. Collision is lit too. I guess he is there in the venue while they are taping Collision. MJF and Hangman face to face. It's one of those deals where like I don't like the face to face trope.
Sure.
But however, this was a very good promo back and forth. MJF did some really, really good work here. Subtle, true. It is objectively true that the people as a whole never turned on Hangman, even when he turned on everybody. And I think because I'm a Hangman guy, although I can objectively say burning down somebody's childhood home is wrong. So like Hangman
people can do, Alex.
Then when MJF prompts the crowd to say Hangman did nothing wrong, it is like it's a thing that it's not just in the corner of the internet. Everyone who goes to AEW shows knows the phrase and believes it does apply to Hangman Adam Page. My thing is that what he did was objectively wrong, but subjectively right. And sometimes as a person, you know it is wrong to do this outside of the context. However, you know what the context is. And in the context, maybe that's your only option. Maybe you feel like there is literally nothing else I can do, even though I know this is wrong. If I saw somebody who wasn't me do that to any other person, I would say that is bad. Do not do that. However, I believe I must do this to this person because of the thing that he did to me that went unpunished. And if you go back to that promo, which is the one I think that got him all the awards, the one that was just taped in a hallway after he beat Jay White, where he was like, we had to leave our home. When his voice quivers in that, you feel the way that you could feel him remembering specific moments of his wife telling him with tears in her eyes, I can't stay here. This is the house that he decided he was going to raise his family in, and he can't stay there because his wife is so afraid for her and their children's well-being. Burning down a man's house was the only option he felt he had at the time, even though I believe that Hangman Page knows that what he did was wrong. That is what I love about the nuance of Hangman Page, and also this story, because MJF is like, they love you for it.
Yeah.
They love you for, look, nobody ever turned on you. Nobody ever doesn't like you. Listen, that he's like, are we all on our fifis because I cheated to win a match?
Yeah.
You burned the dude's house down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I honestly, MJF is objectively right and subjectively wrong. Because we know that dude's a piece of crap. You know what I mean? Like, that's how he's always behaved himself. Because even if he isn't on the inside, even if he's a lost little boy who just craves somebody to be the popular kid at school or whatever, even if that's who he is on the inside, he projects all of that douchebaggery outward, and that is what we have to see. And we can see inside to the good man that Hangman Page is, because we want him to be that so bad. There's such a great dynamic between these two guys. I love that they each had little things that that one of them would needle the other with, which caused them to break their little thing and go off. I think that they are doing the redemption of Hangman Page way faster than I thought it was going to happen.
Sure.
I thought it would take several months, but like, it feels like there's like, now we read the room. The crowd doesn't give a shit that he burned down a dude's house. So they're totally in on him. So we're going to allow him to be that. We're going to feud him against a dude that everybody hates, so that they will love him even more. And we're going to show you that he wants to be a better man, because he knows, as MJF pointed out last week, that he doesn't have the stomach for it. It takes a special kind of constitution to do really bad things and not feel bad about it. MJF has that constitution, but Hangman Page doesn't. He just doesn't. In the moment, he had to burn down Swerve's house, but I do believe the Hangman Page that we know regrets having done it.
Yeah.
And doesn't know how to atone for it. MJF, maybe deep down inside, like, he wants to be loved, but he does not know how to get it, because he did the whole thing for a year, did the double clothesline, all that crap. He did a kangaroo kick, for God's sake. This man wanted to be loved, but then it fell apart because he didn't believe he deserved it. There's both of these guys. You want to talk about how the best part about this whole thing is in them bringing up Hangman Page as the main character.
Oh my God.
MJF says, that's fine. I have no problem being the bad guy. If you look at the overall arc, everyone says that Hangman Page is the main character of AEW. MJF is the main antagonist of AEW and always has been. Even that weird little chapter where we liked him for a little while.
He was our scumbag.
He was our scumbag. We all knew he was still a scumbag. So, like, that's the moment, was like when you recognize that now we're actually taking the main character, the main protagonist, if you will, against the main antagonist. This, obviously, I don't think ends at Revolution. This has the potential to be a real game changer of a feud for both of these guys and for AEW as a whole.
Man, there was so much that I loved about this, and it started at the top of the ramp with MJF. There was this thing where he just kind of like turned to the camera. He was talking about his suit, his custom made suit. And I was always waiting for a heel to adopt the thing that John Cena did as a really corny baby face with the towel and the turning at home and whatever. Because while I recognize that was corny in my opinion, I also recognize it made every single appearance he did specific to the town that they were in and unique in that way. So I love that he just kind of, from the second he entered. And the other thing with this MJF promo was he immediately went into their history. There was not a lot of placating to the crowd. There was not a lot of like low-hanging fruit stuff. He hates this guy. Yeah. MJF is not like needling at all. He is just going for the jugular in all of this. I loved him pointing out every beat of drank someone's blood, the crowd's cheering, attack Christopher Danielson. He's so correct about so much of this. And I love the "do you love you" thing. Because they just found each other's buttons to press so much with this. Aces all around, and Adam Page being like, you've done all of these things at this age, but you still don't have the one thing that you really want. Just feels so dialed in on him. Mm-hmm. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And I also loved that Hangman Page said, I've told a million lies in this, and I've told them to everybody here, but I never lied to the crowd. Mm-hmm. I never lied to them. And all MJF has done has been a piece of crap to the crowd. So, like, where they draw the lines of what it means to be good and what it means to be bad was so interesting, and how they perceive each other in that way was, I thought pretty brilliantly laid out. I do think that the redemption of Hangman Page is coming faster than I thought it would too, but I think it's going to take him a real long time to get back to Swerve. And when that moment finally happens, it's going to be so special because he's got a lot of wrongs to right along the way. And this was all aces. I really like what we're getting out of MJF the past few weeks, because it feels like we are just like right at the core of who this guy is in a way that we haven't gotten to quickly in feuds before. Yeah. And it feels like he hates Hangman Page, man. Like, I'm also tired of the face-to-face trope, but when one guy is somebody that will confront everybody and the other guy is someone that runs away from everybody, man, some really compelling stuff can happen.
Yeah. I thought this was really well handled. The Revolution being the first, maybe of a trilogy, feels right. I don't know they want to do them back to back like with this Revolution and All In. They might end up pulling it out further with things in the middle, but it does feel like these two guys are destined to dance for a while. And the thing with Swerve is, I think that there's a really cool thing of getting back to Swerve, but with Hangman realizing that the one thing that he can never truly atone for is that thing that he did, and trying to atone for it and Swerve rejecting it is the thing that will push Hangman back over the edge into the man he doesn't want to be again, because he's so angry at himself, and all he needs is all he wants to be able to do is to undo the thing that he did, and he can't. So he tries to atone for it, to say he was sorry, to do something, and Swerve won't accept the apology, because why would he? And that is the thing that, like, I need you to accept the apology, because if you don't, I can't go back to being the man I was. You like, and that is what I need to be okay. That the anger at Swerve for justifiably not accepting the apology is the thing that's going to push Hangman and Swerve into another thing. When Hangman comes to Swerve, and I do believe he will, that's why he was looking for him in that locker room a couple of weeks ago. When Hangman comes to Swerve and tries to atone for what he did, and Swerve rejects it, that is the thing that's going to spur the next chapter of that particular feud. I just don't know when they do that.
I agree. There's this really interesting nuance with Hangman where in the moment he can't help himself, but after he regrets it. Like with Swerve burning down the house, he clearly hasn't forgiven himself for that. When he beat the hell out of Swerve at All Out, he didn't feel satisfied. When he retired Christopher Daniels, which came up in this, he didn't feel satisfied. So there's all of this like incredible emotional work going on, and it's relatable because we haven't all burned down a house, I'm assuming, but we all have said something we immediately wish we could take back. You know, we've all done the microcosm of that, so it's so easy to connect to a character. But Alex, this opening segment did not put me to sleep.
No,
it didn't. But if I was gonna take a little snooze because I was bored by this, I would want to do so on a Helix mattress.
I want to tell you all about our friends over at helixsleep.com/Fightful. I've been using Helix since before there was a helixsleep.com/Fightful. A few years ago, I needed a new mattress because the one that I had just wasn't doing it for me. I wanted to invest in my sleep because that's ideally where you're spending at least a third of your life anyway. I found Helix, all their great reviews, and their online quiz that matched me up to the perfect mattress. And they had all kinds. They had ones for plus-size sleepers, ones that cool you down, ones that align your spine. They find what's perfect for you. And right now you get 27% off any purchase, plus 2 free dream pillows for a limited time using the code FIGHTFUL, plus a free bedding bundle with a Luxe or Elite mattress orders. That's a $330 plus value. I've got the Dusk Luxe. I'm on my second mattress, actually. I got another one for the guest room in my house. I felt very confident with that because there's a 100-night sleep trial. There's a limited lifetime warranty, shipped, assembled in the U.S. If for some reason you don't like it, they will come and pick it up for you. helixsleep.com/Fightful. Invest in your sleep. Invest in the mattress that is spoken highly about, not just by Fightful, by GQ, by Wired Magazine. Go check out all their options and match up with the perfect mattress for you.
Yes, not sleep-inducing, this particular segment.
Not at all. In fact, it was a dream.
Meat Enormous says, I'm having steak and eggs. That's right, 2 eggs. Bird flu can kiss my grits. Where did you get the money for 2 eggs?
Yeah, what are you, a millionaire?
Mr. Moneybags over here.
Jeez.
Then he says, as Virgil would say, let's crank. Hang Person and MJF cooked tonight. Hashtag no yeet. Hashtag no yeet. I agree. Hey, hashtag yes Opps. I love the Opps. The Opps are my favorite. They're my favorite thing. Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata were a magical trio when they were just running around beating up people in hallways. So obviously, just put the trios titles on them. Do that like right away.
Yeah.
So they face the Patriarchy. Right away, my new favorite tag team tandem move is Shibata casually tripping a dude and Samoa Joe doing a senton to that guy.
Pretty great.
That's great. Pretty great. A trios division in any company is built for a team like this. They fit together perfectly, but you wouldn't believe they would. You have like the veteran who's the mouthpiece, you have like the wrestler, and you have the young guy who's only going to learn more and get better by hanging out with these 2 guys. Great stuff. Like, I don't know, like this was excellent. I loved the through line of Christian wanting no part of Samoa Joe. To the point where when Nick Wayne, Christian's favorite son, is being choked to death by the Red Rum, and Shibata is holding Sabian back on the outside, and Christian was going to get into the ring. All Samoa Joe had to do was walk toward the ropes, and he's like, "No, I'm not doing that." And to the point where I'm fantasy booking here. Okay. To the point where Samoa Joe should face Christian for the contract and win it. And then he should cash it in and he should win the title. Because the thing that happened the last time where we didn't know what the hell we were going to do with the title because MJF was hurt and wasn't going to be around long term, and Adam Cole, his entire ankle exploded. Yeah. And they didn't know what they were going to do. It wasn't the plan to have Samoa Joe beat MJF, but they did it. And that 3-month title reign is among the greatest 3-month title reigns you'll ever see. Ever see. So yeah, put the title back on Samoa Joe for a few months, figure it out, because unfortunately, the thing that I was the most excited about in the entire world last September is a thing I have no time for now, and that is the Death Riders title reign. They're just keep picking the wrong dance partners for Jon Moxley, and I don't understand why. But a great dance partner for everybody is Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe beats Jon Moxley. Who says no?
Unfortunately, I couldn't watch any of this match because I was too busy trying to calculate the ring size. I just I didn't see it.
Right.
I was just like, what size is this ring? It feels too small. And I had a meltdown.
Well, I thought maybe the ropes were a little too far apart. I can spot that. I've watched a lot of wrestling.
We watched a lot of wrestling around here, guys.
I mean, the ropes were a little too far apart. So
there's this really great story about Ted Williams that when he went to war and came back to Major League Baseball, he could tell that home plate was off by a quarter inch. That's basically us with ropes.
That's basically us with ropes from not being in the building and just watching it on TV.
This match was so much fun, for real. Kip Sabian, man, different wrestler now than when he entered the company. Like, he's put in a lot of work. His look is completely different. I like him mixed up in this. I hope that we get to see more of what he's capable of, because what I've seen, I've liked a lot. Again, distracted by the ring. But, man, Alex, on FightfulSelect.com, you and I, we once reviewed Anarchy in the Arena, where Eddie Kingston came out yielding gasoline while bloodied up with a zombie-like stare. And it did something to me as a woman. I'm now at that point where with Samoa Joe, like, he's on the husband list. I love this guy so much. Sincerely, like, I knew I missed him when he was away, but him being back, I'm like, there's just nothing that this guy does that isn't value add. Like, every movement, every match, every word in every promo, value add, value add, value add. This is a really, really fun trio. The chat is saying, of course, what I was thinking as well. Where's Hook's towel? Get Hook a towel. We need Opps towels.
Okay, I like that. Yes.
Yeah, we gotta
matching towels for the Opps.
Yes, they need Opps towels for sure. Sell them. You'll sell 1 million of them.
Like, but can we call them Op Mops? Like, because they can mop up some sweat.
We will.
Okay, we'll call them Op Mops. Okay, good.
Of course we will.
Okay, good.
This combination of guys is so special because they're just so wildly different, but the attitude is like this really cool connective thread because they're all unshakable, and they're all intimidating and lethal, but with their own unrepeatable imprint on what that means. So I really, really like that. I think this is a good program. I'm excited that both multi-men title pictures are heating up. Like, the tag division's kind of cooking again. We get this with the trios titles as well. This match was super, super fun. Felt really good to do this right after like a very long opening speaking segment as well, because it was just like ass kicking from the go. This was very, very fun. And I'm so in on this trio of guys, and I'm intrigued to see where it leads, because I feel like it could go in so many different directions with this particular set of 3 guys. Like, I could see them going for the trios titles. I could also see them just having each other's backs in a lot of singles programs or whatever you need it to be. Samoa Joe has my absolute blind trust at this point in his career. Like, there's just nothing this guy doesn't do that makes wrestling better. That's it.
Yep. Jordan 5, I believe. Jordan 5. I have terrible eyesight. Says, was waiting to hear Nate Dogg on that Fire Ops theme. That'd be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I think he's just Jordans. It wasn't Jordan S. It's just like the sneakers.
But it's capitalized. I just don't know why. It was like,
no, I was just being silly.
Okay, fine. So,
Tom Valley say they should acknowledge that Hook doesn't have a towel. He should have to earn it. This is his young boy trajectory.
That's the thing. Yeah, you can have a towel when you earn it, kid.
That's right.
Listen. So can we just skip to the learning tree interference during the Bandido match on Saturday? They already taped it, I'm sure. Like Bandido should beat Chris Jericho for the title, but he's not doing it on Collision. So
Not
on
a pre-taped one?
on a
I doubt.
taped Collision. So
Yeah.
they're going to extend this, and he's going to get a rematch at Revolution, and then he can win it. Because I mean, Chris Jericho was very mean to Renee, and so mean to Renee, and no one should ever be that mean to Renee. And also, like, Chris Jericho just should go away. So him losing to Bandido is the move.
Sure.
I don't think we're lucky enough to see it on Saturday, to have seen it be taped tonight. We'll definitely, hopefully see him lose to Bandido soon.
People are in on our earning the towel idea, by the way. They're going to be in tears. Like Tanahashi, I love this so much. The pop he would get if they finally grant him a towel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bandido needs to beat Jericho. I have this crazy vision where he does it like on ROH television. I don't know.
Kate, I'm sorry.
Like, what if the ROH title? Hear me out. What if the ROH title was on ROH?
I just don't see it. I'm sorry. Like I totally get where you're coming from, but I just don't see it.
Neither do they, which is a bummer.
No. Yeah, unfortunately. You know who else doesn't see it? If it was on ROH, everybody, because nobody subscribes to that service.
Ah!
So nobody would see it.
I love ROH. If there's one fan of ROH, it's me. If there's 100 fans of ROH, I'm one of them.
I know.
If there's 1,000.
I get it. I know. Crazy 101 says Revolution looking fire emoji. I wish Bandido would beat Jericho. So do I. I wish anybody would beat Jericho. Like,
I wish Bandido would beat Jericho for a lot of reasons.
I'm so happy to have him back. He was gone for such a ridiculously long time with that injury. So happy to have him back. He's a great guy to choose to beat Jericho, but if he doesn't do it, can literally anybody else do it?
There's a lot of ROH significance with Bandido as well.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to have an ROH guy holding the ROH title, but it would also be nice if ROH had like a proper men's singles division to challenge for titles. But Bandido coming back was great, and then he got concussed. So I don't know if the plan was to do this program earlier.
Right.
And now it's getting pushed out to Revolution. I think that's very possible.
Are they doing Supercard? Is that happening? Like,
yeah, but not. That's happening. That's a ways away.
Is it really? Isn't that the one they do in the spring? Could it be like early April? Because I mean,
we're talking to this Jericho title reign. That feels like 65 years.
I know, me too. However, I am with you on it should happen on an ROH show.
That I agree with.
And if they're doing Supercard of Honor, like, I don't know, first weekend of April, we can wait that long for Bandido to be the champion.
You can. I cover this product.
No, but I'm saying like that to me, I don't want it to change on Revolution because I don't want Chris Jericho on the Revolution card, just on general principle, even if he loses the match that he's in. But he's the ROH champion. They should defend it on an ROH show, and then then he should lose it.
Be neat.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Also, don't be mean to Renee.
Yes. SRS said all he knew was that it was not happening at Mania weekend in Vegas. That's all he knows.
Would be.
So it's not like he's not happening then, but it could happen anywhere else at any other time. You could do it in Daly's place literally next weekend. You know what I mean? Just do it.
I will set up a ring in my apartment. Just get it done.
As long as it's 20 by 20, Kate. We don't skimp around here.
Who do you think I am? Of course it would be 20 by 20.
Okay. Hey, so we got a pretty awesome street fight between Hobbs and Big Bill. I would like for these men to fight each other until the end of time, please.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Meet Normus says, I would like to thank Phoenix for acknowledging me, says Meet Normus.
They threw up the ones for you today.
Meet Normus also says, Hobbs and Bill as Peter Griffin and the Chicken could drive me to veganism. Then he says, weird finish, but they're not done. Add a Wardlow and Butcher and get the hose. Butcher is an odd shout. I do like the Butcher, but I just need these two. I don't need to add anybody to it. Just these two. That's all I need. These two is fine. What's
kind of a bummer is I feel like Butcher and Blade would be really great in the current tag landscape.
Yeah. But
Wardlow, I just hope the best for that guy because like he's had such a rough he was the most really over guy in the world.
I know.
And then the injuries and all this. Yeah. So I hope he comes back with a very obviously meat focused, but intentional plan that's suitable for him. I still say tag team with him and Slex. If you're not familiar with him, he's a great Australian talent. As like badass, almost like bodyguard guys would be. If it would feed families, trust me on that. But Big Bill and Hobbs feel destined to do this for a little bit. Like this could be one of those multi-year Shawn Michaels, Triple H-esque feuds that persists for years and years and years to come, where they just like can't get enough of beating the crap out of each other. This street fight was a blast. The setup for it was really cool too, because it was like everything. We know in a street fight that nothing's off limits. When they visually express that, it's really, really fun. But I had a blast watching this, man. And yeah, we're super not done with what's going on between these two guys. This is a blast.
This is a street fight. They said it was. It wasn't a last man standing match until it was. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't answer the 10 count, that is a way to lose a match. Like, it is. But usually they only do that for a double can't answer the 10 count if it's not in a regular match. So I think it was like the logistics of having Hobbs climb down from the scaffolding where he was all the way to where Big Bill was like intertwined with table pieces and barbed wire and lay down on top of him to pin him just felt like it would take too long. So they're like, just have Aubrey count it.
Yeah.
And I don't love last man standing matches because it's so many count to 10s and they get to 8 and the guy staggers to his feet. I like the idea of if you can't get up, you lose. And we'll just do that when it appears like you can't get up. We'll only do it
almost
then.
like an MMA fight of just like
we're only going to do it then. And I also loved that Big Bill probably could have gotten up, except for when he fell through the barbed wire table, it looped around his forearm and he could not extricate it from his forearm to get himself up off the ground. I've seen a lot of last man standing matches where people have been buried in rubble or whatever, and that's how they lose. But a dude like, okay, well, I'm going to get up now, but I can't get up because I got stuck to this thing, was a really cool spot. And it makes Big Bill look like this isn't over. Like the match would have continued. And I like to think as Big Bill that I would have beaten you, Mr. Hobbs. I feel like that's a very easy way to get this to extend without but nobody's taken a loss yet.
Yeah, there was a great deal of storytelling in that moment. Yeah.
Big Bill couldn't get up is not the same as you pinned my shoulders to the mat for 3 seconds. That's a different thing. And I think that you can easily spin that out I like when feuds have to continue because nobody has beaten the other guy yet.
Sure.
That's always fun. So
nothing got settled here for sure.
Yeah.
Like Will Hobbs did not earn a victory over Big Bill. So I'm with you in that, like, we didn't actually settle the score. What happened was I got trapped in barbed wire, right? So my only thing is we did this kind of early. So what's the next stipulation? Because we've seen this with AEW. Sometimes they book feuds in reverse as far as like...
Yes.
Stipulations.
They did a parking lot brawl, and then they did, which was not actually a match. Then they did another one, which was a match, and then they did another. Then they're doing another one, and I just feel like, okay, so I really like the idea of them figuring out a way to do one that I don't know. Is a steel cage too easy? You know what I mean? Like, is that too easy to put these two dudes in a giant cage and have them smash each other into the cage? Like a Hell in a Cell would be a good thing to do, but that's not a thing you can do here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm like, is a cage... If you asked a wrestler, they'd probably say yes. I feel like if you asked a fan, they might say no. Is a cage more to reckon with than a barbed wire table? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. You know, I think you're right. That they may have blown their wad on the biggest match they could possibly have a little too early. You know what I mean?
Of all the days, I don't have a Bluetooth segue.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Help me help you.
Give them a freebie. Why not? I don't know. They're a good sponsor of us. Tom LaValle says, hot take. Big Bill wins the ROH title from Bandido. Jericho wants Bill to just hand him the belt, and Bill says no. Bill gets the face run he deserves. All right. I mean, like I'm fine with that. I don't need Big Bill to be a baby face. I just like him to be a tweener who choke slams dudes. That's fun. Also, I kind of like the idea of if Bandido beats Jericho for it, Big Bill gets the title, and then Hobbs is like, "Hi, hey, you never beaten me yet," and we just do that for the ROH title, and it changes hands 5 times in 7 months. They're because either dude can beat the other one on any given night because they're both giant hosses who love smashing things.
Sure, that's not what the ROH title is meant for. It's meant for honor. There's a whole ring about it. Find a different prop belt.
I mean, are we sure honor is real, though? Like,
I don't know. You tell me.
You are literally pointing the wrong direction. Hold on, I'm right direction. You are pointing in the wrong direction.
Not according to my... Am I mirrored? I'm probably mirrored.
You're on mirror. You're on mirror. That's what's going on. You mirrored yourself. Don't mirror yourself.
There we go. Now I'm good.
There we go. Honor is real.
Honor is real. There you go. That's very funny.
Hey, Murder Machines call it the Hurt Syndicate. That'll be fun. That's a big boy match.
To the yes.
That's a big boy bruiser match. We like that.
Sure is.
Willow is very upset with Renee because her husband sent Marina Shafir to attack her. And
she should be. That's not women supporting women. Renee, talk to your man.
Wouldn't you know it? The same thing happens again. And then Moxley goes down to the ring and cuts a promo. And I just expected him to say the obvious thing. I told you you don't get a match because you don't deserve it. You and your Kiwi friend baited me into a street fight tag match in Australia. I flew 20 hours and choked your ass out. You don't deserve a match with me. End of story. But he says, at the end of it, he says, okay, come to Revolution and I'll kick your ass again. And I was like, no, you told him he didn't deserve the match. Then you choked him out. Why does it change that now he deserves the match? You already proved that you're better than him by choking him out. I mean, that when you choose that finish to that tag match, that has to spin off into a thing that makes sense afterwards. If Adam Copeland had pinned Claudio, then okay, fine, I'll kick your ass. You get the title match or whatever. I don't want him to pin Moxley, but that's the actual way to get the title match is to have Copeland pin Moxley in that match. When you have Moxley choke out Adam Copeland, that is a thing that stops Adam Copeland from getting a title match, not grants him one.
I was so confused because, watching this guy enter on Collision, crowd is singing his song.
Yeah.
He's very obviously realistically moved. And I was like, oh, this is going to be so great because he's going to have to get one up on Moxley so that Moxley can get a proper win back. Probably not like a clean win against Moxley. You don't want to do that to your champion. But it's a tag match. You can just have them pin other people, right?
Right.
Choked him out.
so much so that him choking him out and leaving him laying there, when he says, he's not here, he's gone. You know what I mean? So I want him to be like, yeah, fine, show up at Revolution if you can. I'll kick your ass then too. And then at Jay White's music hits, I was like, are they pivoting to a Jay White title shot at Revolution? Because Jay White wasn't the one who got his ass choked out. Adam Copeland was. And listen, it was really cool to see Edge get his theme song sung to him by all those people in Australia who wouldn't be moved by him being moved by that. It was very, very cool. I have no interest in that dude at the top of the main event division of AEW at all. I just don't have it.
Not against Moxley right now for me.
Not in this way. Omega, Ospreay, these are the people you put the title on. And you do that right away because you have so horribly botched what should have been a fantastic storyline after he took out Danielson. You've so horribly botched it that you need to course correct as fast as humanly possible, and you need to put it on people who are weak. You can ride into the future, not a guy who's on his last run. You know what I mean? I don't need it, man.
No, this angle started with the egos of the young kids, and we are now at Adam Copeland. We've lost the plot so bad. Mm-hmm. And I hate being so down on it week after week because I feel like the product as a whole has picked up, but when it's your world title picture, and also we never still saw the championship, and that story beat just went away entirely. I'm so confused about so he didn't crack it open with a barbed wire bat, and so now we've just given up on that idea entirely.
I still say that the belt can't be the thing that's in the briefcase, because if it is, it's the most anticlimactic thing ever. You've built a whole storyline around a woman having it handcuffed to her arm, and then you stole it from her and you try to smash it open with a thing that's got spikes on it, and you can't get that open. When it finally opens up, it's got to be something else. I just don't know what it's got. Because here's the belt. They keep saying, we presume the belt is in the briefcase. We presumably we might see, we assume, there's a lot of assuming, presuming, assuming, all that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of that. You know what I mean? We will see, but Revolution could have been an opportunity to have a revolution and have that person beat Moxley and then move on and do something cool, Double or Nothing, and take that into All In. If we are really waiting for Darby Allin to climb Everest and get back, hopefully in one piece,
and then get into wrestling shape.
And then get into wrestling shape.
And then to earn a title shot.
And then, all he has to do is show up and threaten to light a guy on fire who's not John Moxley, and he'll, we'll just do one of those. Sure. It's fine. There we go. It's going to be a wallet that says badass mother effer in the case, just like in Pulp Fiction. That's what it's going to be. I like that.
I'll take it.
But yeah, so we found out that Monet is interviewed. No puppets, right? And Renee's like, no puppets.
No puppets, no surprises.
No puppets.
Surprise though.
But here's a video we taped earlier with a different person who's not me interviewing Momo. And Momo says, "Hey, I won that thing at Wrestle Wrestle Dynasty."
Yes.
So I get to choose who I want to fight, and I want to fight you. And you actually saw this live, Momo and Monet.
I did. I saw their matchup at Capital Collision, and it was really great. There's something really special about Momo live. There's some wrestlers that when you see them live, they just have this extra thing about them. she is one of them. But that match was fantastic, and it was kind of the beginning of this kind of pivot for Mercedes, I feel like, into being like, that's the gal that we remember as far as like incredible in-ring stuff. Because it was right after the match with Britt that didn't really connect, and then I saw this and was like, holy cow. Momo is really, really special. She kind of stands out from a lot of the Joshi wrestlers that I've seen. I'm not super familiar with that beat. I'm not fully engrossed in that world, but of the women's wrestlers I've seen there's definitely this like uniqueness about Momo, in my opinion. And that match should be super, super fun. She was also stalking Athena on ROH because she was also in that International Women's Cup match. So there's a very healthy crossover of this scene. And I think this is probably, from all accounts, it sounds like what Kenny Omega had envisioned from the beginning for the women's division was like being able to do stuff like this to incorporate this great Joshi talent. Right. But then COVID happened so early in their existence, and then they built a division outside of that and all these things. We're seeing this really like fresh, easy integration of Mina Shirakawa, Momo, like the crossover title challenge things, and Mercedes being able to have 4 belts and go all over the world. So it's very cool how international AEW feels just in general, and Momo and Mercedes too should be great. Should be great.
So that's happening in Revolution as well. Someone we didn't hear from tonight. Matthew Hook says, only thing missing was anything from Harley or Mariah. I know Mariah is involved in Collision, but I'm not sure what they're doing with Harley right now. But Harley's post-match promo was so affecting and beautiful. And I love how much she loves wrestling when she could literally love anything else that she does so much. Like it just feels like it, but it also feels like, do you know how hard you have to work to get that good at ventriloquism or guitar or songwriting or rapping or anything? Like it consumes your entire thing, which means she has done that multiple times in her life and then moved on to something else. I have no idea if like one day she's gonna be like, I don't do wrestling anymore. Now I knit. I don't know what is the thing that she's gonna just stop wrestling. I was a ventriloquist, then I was a wrestler. Now I knit beautiful sweaters.
Like, well, I don't think she was contracted to be a ventriloquist anywhere, so that's probably a pretty good indicator.
That might be it. Okay, that could be it.
I also, quite honestly, like she's from Australia. She might just maybe she stayed in Australia for a week, which I think would be fine and very earned. What a special moment for her. And she did seem very authentically affected by what happened and how special that was. I'm so excited that this young lady that we saw with a bunch of charisma on QTV is evolving in the way that she is, because wrestling is something that you're not really naturally inclined to, from what I understand. You can be naturally inclined to athleticism, but there's all of these things that go into it, right? So she busts her ass. She got rewarded with a big spot. She thrived in that spot. I think she did well. Initially going into it, I was team hot potato the title. Just give it to her and have Mercedes win it back
on her. Yeah.
After seeing the match, I'm kind of like, you know what? Like Mercedes is going to be gearing toward this historic reign. Harley's really good. She's still got some work to do. Like I think that they made the right call with that. But it did propel her, I think, into the next level, and I'm thrilled for that for her. That's awesome.
Right. So you've seen the great classic Bill Murray comedy Groundhog Day, right? Where he lives the same day over and over and over again for literal years, so much so that he can learn how to do. He's an ice sculptor. He learned how to do it over several years. The same thing with piano player. Reveries in the chat has told us that is the only explanation for who Harley Cameron is. She is somehow living the same day or at least at some point she did, over and over and over and over and over again. She's like, I'm gonna learn how to play guitar. I'm gonna sing my own songs. I'm gonna be a ventriloquist. I'm gonna learn how to wrestle now.
Arch rival, Ned Ryerson, 100%.
We got to get that Ned. We got to get that Ryerson Harley Cameron feud going. That's got to be it. Simmons saying that no disrespect to Momo, but we need to get some of the AEW women built up. I was hoping Jamie Hayter would be her next opponent, hopefully Double or Nothing. I think it's fine to do this now, and hopefully then we do get that built up.
Sure. Toni Storm needs challengers too now.
Well, she does. She certainly does. She won't have a new one for now, but we will get one soon. Something that is interesting to me is All In Texas, right? Athena finally gets a match on a pay-per-view, right? She's from Texas. Like that's a thing we're gonna do. Like Athena versus Mercedes. If Mercedes is the belt collector and she says, I want your title too, Athena, and Athena says, sure, I want all of those. Everything's on the line, baby, or no match. Like that, winner take all. Mercedes versus Athena in Texas would be really interesting. I would just book Athena to win, because then she'd be the TBS championship, so she would be on, and it would make Mercedes lose her mind.
Yeah,
she lost all of those titles because she wanted one more. Like that would be really cool, and that would just begin a whole thing. But I mean, that's my own little.
Sure, they've seemingly committed to 3 years with Billy Starks, so. My hope is that they would pay it off with her at some point. I think it's unfair that they didn't do it at Final Battle this year, but I love that idea. I do think Athena All In Texas versus Mercedes, like they've both been online about it.
Right.
I think there's something really special. This version of Athena, man, I know everybody's been able to catch glimpses of it because she's won, quite frankly, the Fightful Award for Best In-Ring Women's Wrestler of the Year behind a paywall service. But I don't know if people quite understand how expansive her repertoire has become as far as what she's delivering in ring, how many finishers she's developed, her approach with things. This version of her versus this version of Mercedes, I think could be, all-timer. Like I'm talking all freaking timer. Yeah. I also got to ask where the hell Shida is.
I don't know.
I don't know either. You know what? She's as hard to find as your internet connection when you're using the best VPN in the game. I'll tell you that much. Because that is untraceable, Alex. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
What, like Nord?
Oh my God, you're so right.
Buying pay-per-views on NordVPN.com/Fightful is going to enhance your pay-per-view buying process. Now, one subscription to NordVPN has so many different benefits, but if you're a big pay-per-view buyer like myself, UFC, boxing, pro wrestling, all that good stuff, any combination of the three, if they're doing a fight circus or something like that, this subscription will pay for itself after 1 or 2 pay-per-view buys. Change your virtual location, pay for it at the prices that other people are paying for it in the UK, in Australia, etc., and you can get different interfaces. Maybe you don't like Peacock and you want to check out the WWE Network the way that it used to be, the way that it was designed to be, the easy navigation, so on and so forth. Maybe you want to watch AEW without commercials. Maybe there's some other overseas services that you can't subscribe to and you want access to them. NordVPN.com/Fightful gives you that with a great deal and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Even better, 24/7 tech support, so if you have trouble navigating any of it, they can help you out. Fastest VPN on the planet, NordVPN.com/Fightful.
I do genuinely have a NordVPN subscription, and it is how I watch stuff. It is incredible that I can take a trip to Canada and be able to watch all the WWE content on Netflix alone. You can protect your router, you can protect your phone, you can protect your computer. 2 pay-per-views in, you're saving money. You've already saved the cost of what this is. So I of all the partners we have, and we have some really great partners on board, I can't really speak to the effectiveness of a Blue Chew for anatomy reasons.
Right.
But I can say with incredible confidence that Nord, who's so great to us as a partner, is genuinely such a great service. No better time as a wrestling fan to be subscribed to a VPN than right now, for sure. We'll also take a moment to remind you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Best $6 in the biz. Sean already came in with a bunch of scoops at the top of the show and some of his insights on tonight's episode of Dynamite, but plenty going on behind the paywall. All the scoops in the game. If you like me and Alex, you get to see us every Monday ranting about WWE Raw, but we also do pay-per-view and PLE post shows behind the paywall. Say it 10 times fast. And a whole bunch of other things. Sean referenced the Discord. There's his Q&A show, which is so great. So it does go back to us. It does genuinely help us, despite people saying we're on everybody's payroll. We're on your payroll. So when you throw down $6 a month, it really genuinely does support original reporting, support accurate reporting, and support all of us who you see on screen. And please keep those super chats and humper chats coming. That's another great way to support us, and leave a thumbs up ski on this video as well. But Alex, back to you.
Back to me. Toni Storm is back to being champion after AEW Grand Slam Australia.
Champ is champ, baby.
She is the whore we all adore.
Of course.
And the slut that we are unable to rebut. And she cut a promo in a spotlight, a pin spot in the middle of the ring. Do it, baby. This was great. I love that she referenced that what an amazing match you pushed me to, and then I beat you with a small package. But it was actually the biggest package ever. I railed you. The size of the package that I railed you with. It was great.
Once again, of all the nights not to have a Blue Chew read, but she's excellent. She's excellent. Like she's just this was a perfect opening promo to her second reign. Who do you think is challenger after Mariah May? Because that seems like an obvious way to go, right? We have to have the rematch to settle that score finally. What's the follow-up?
I don't know. I don't know what your it's not me. I really love Toni Storm. I love Timeless Toni Storm. I think I honestly believe Timeless Toni Storm, I believe this is the greatest gimmick in the history of wrestling. It's because of how well it is written and how well it is performed. She lives the character every second she is on screen, and it is so funny and perfect. She wrestles like it, she talks like it, everything about it. The black and white, the thing with Luther as the butler. I love the gimmick. I love it. She was the champ for a really long time before she lost it to Mariah May, and then Mariah May was the champ since August till now. And I think that the latest she should hold the title, Toni Storm, is All In.
I agree.
So she should have it for 5 months tops. And then she should lose it to somebody who's not Mariah May. And I would also say not currently a champion. And I would also say has never been one. Like, let's get somebody else in there. Right. Some new blood. Maybe they've been TBS champion, but never world champion. Like, there's a lot of people that could be that person, but I feel like that's your deadline. Your deadline is All In Texas in July to get that done.
Chat's the stat.
Stat would be an excellent choice.
I think this might be controversial, but I'm here for controversy, Alex.
All right, cool.
I think there could be something really special about doing this with Megan Bain. Just make her. Yeah. Just freaking do it. Just have someone come in, be dominant for a little bit, run through a bunch of people, and dethrone this lunatic champion. Do something that you don't have the opportunity to do all that often.
Right.
Make a new star with it. So that's kind of where I'm at. There are a lot of people that are deserving to be champion because this roller coaster of a women's division. So I understand if that's not the direction you want to go in, but you have this force who we get to talk about shortly,
right?
And Megan Bayne, and I just feel like make a star, just do it.
Yeah,
do the thing. And Megan Bayne doesn't have to hold it a super long time, but just do the thing. Do the thing.
I love the idea of it being Megan Bayne as long as it's done right. And that might be more of a shock title change at Double or Nothing. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. That could be hastened.
You know what I mean? Tony, James Zimmerman saying that Timeless Tony Storm is a legend. She absolutely is. And Wheelchair Hulk saying, give Tony female promo of the year right now. This was an excellent promo. And we'll see more and more and more of this, but it was a really, really great way to do it.
I will say it is categorically crazy that Toni Storm has won the title 4 times and has basically been a different iteration of herself in all 4 of those times.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's like in an incredible way.
Sure. Yeah. Meet Normus says, gives us a little scoop.
The scoop-ski?
KFC is moving from Kentucky to Texas. Meat news is what he says. In other meat news, lady meat news, we got a match between Megan Bayne and Chris Statlander.
Instant chemistry. Woo!
This is great. And it is Chris Statlander is absolutely the person to have put over Megan Bayne to legitimize Megan Bayne. I'm not entirely sold yet on the Megan Bayne Penelope Ford alliance. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It could certainly work, but it just wasn't what I thought. When Megan Bayne comes out and she looks like a Greek goddess and she wrestles like a Greek goddess, and Penelope Ford is this little like
badass gal,
little badass, like, but doesn't actually work. It doesn't seem like that works. We'll see. But she comes in to shove Statlander off the top rope, which allows Megan Bayne to get the victory with her gigantic friggin' F5 that she hits. By the way, she cut Statlander in half with a spear. That's now the best spear in AEW. It might be the second best spear in all of wrestling behind only Braun Breaker. Like that's it. Like
and Zarya Delta. There's some lady
spears. There's some lady spears. Let's all I gotta say.
Not even Brittany. Just some other lady spears going on.
Some other lady spears. Meet Norma says, "Where is Camille? Her with Stat, Willow, Megan, and Jamie, plus all the meat in the men's tag division, is restoring the feeling for your boy, MF Meet Normus." Thank you, Meet Normus. We have to, unfortunately, talk about the thing that happened at the end of this match, which was one of the oddest things I've seen in a very long time. So I believe that each woman was given a different memo as to how the post-match thing was going to work. Penelope and Megan Bayne beating the hell out of Chris Statlander, and Thunder Rosa makes the save with a chair. Now, it did appear to me that Thunder Rosa was under the impression that she would hit the ring with a chair and both of the women, the bad guys, would scatter. And they didn't. Perhaps Megan Bayne was under the impression that they would not be scattering. Because Thunder Rosa's like, well, the only option that I have is to hit you with the chair, but you're standing there, and I don't think that's not in the script. That's not in the script I was given. So I'm going to stand here doing this with a chair. And then Penelope Ford tries to take the chair away from Thunder Rosa. And Thunder Rosa's like, hey, that's my chair, give it back. And Megan Bayne just like, Honestly, her hitting Penelope Ford with the chair and then holding it to Megan Bayne, who just laughs and casually exits the ring, that I think gives the thing that she makes the save. She dispenses with Penelope, and Megan Bayne is like, really? I mean, you're not even worth my time. and then she leaves. And I think that was what you were trying to get for the reaction from Megan Bayne of, I'm not scared of your chair, Thunder Rosa. But they did it in a way where Thunder Rosa was like, I honestly don't know how to use this. Like, that was how she was holding the chair. She was like poking it at them like it was a spider, and she didn't know what to do with this. Like, it was just...
It was like she didn't know it unfolds into being something you sit in. Like, that's how foreign this device was to her. It was very weird.
Was really unfortunate because it colored the whole thing, and I don't think we should do that. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah. What I do like is that it left the door open for a rematch. Like, I don't normally like interference-y, goofy endings, but we got new relationships out of it, which improves talent rotation, which I'm a huge fan of. And also, neither of these women should have beat the other one clean. Yeah. Like, so I really, really like that this is not over, because this should never be over. This should continue forever and ever. Megan Bayne has unlocked that thing that wrestlers unlock and become superstars with. I wish there was a way for me to describe it, but it's intangible. Like, she's so connected to just who she is as a wrestler, it feels like. Presentation wise, in ring, her and Chris just had instant chemistry. So much fun. It felt like both of them were in there with opponents that they didn't feel like they had to be careful with. Like that allowed just like a little extra stank at all of the moves that were being done. Chris Statlander's really special. Megan Bayne's really special. We are seeing fresh new people on screen. This is good. This is something I've been complaining about a lot, is the talent rotation in general, but particularly of the women's division. Really, really fresh stuff going on right now. Post-match was just super clunky. I don't know what and where the miscommunication was. I also don't buy that Thunder Rosa should be coming in for the save to throw off Megan Bayne. Like, that feels like a Jamie Hayter spot. If she's going after Penelope Ford proper... That I get a little bit more.
Megan Bayne attacked her on a collision 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes, I forgot about that.
So, like,
that makes
that's personal.
Just weirder. Yeah.
Lieutenant Photo, our boy Lieutenant Photo, of course, has a photo shoot with Megan Bayne on Friday.
You have a great subject.
So that would be a lot of fun.
Can she be photographed? Does she just transcend reality?
I don't know if cameras are able to capture that
her.
Kind of. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Like, can Greek gods be photographed?
Like, there's all these sculptures of them because they can't.
Yeah. Alan Jeanette saying that Chris versus Megan solves world hunger.
I think it could. The way it feels.
There's a lot of meat there. And if you found a way to distribute the meat to the masses, I know you're vegan, but I mean,
look.
If a starving person doesn't turn down a hamburger.
I also like, this is not a byproduct of animal suffering. I'll say that much. You know what I mean? Like, that's really where vegans thrive. So
Next caster is gonna do a challenge thing on.
I think Gabe Kidd's gonna be him. Oh, no.
I mean, he's very entertaining as the guy who thinks that a thing he framed from the government makes him a really good wrestler now. He's very entertaining as that version of the heel. So here's the problem I have with all of this, though. So we were really, really hoping that that you would break up the Acclaimed because we wanted to see one of the two guys have a singles run, and it's not this guy. So what he's doing is fine, but separately from that, can we do Anthony Bowen's wrestling good matches against people? Can that be a thing that we also do at the same time, or is that not allowed? Because I want Anthony Bowen's matches. I was really excited for him to get away and do a singles run, like Anthony Bowens versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT title at Revolution is a thing you absolutely could have done because they broke up weeks ago. Have Anthony Bowens get an opportunity free from Max Caster, and he wins a fatal four-way to get the number one contendership to Daniel Garcia at Revolution, and he comes this friggin' close to beating Daniel Garcia, or he wins it. I don't friggin' care, but he should absolutely be wrestling and getting a push as a single star.
I agree with that. I feel like probably he answers one of these open challenges and beats the ever living crap out of him.
Yeah.
Right. I did see on social media, I think he's at like an NFL combine prep camp getting in shape, which is going to be like, that guy's already in great shape. I'm terrified to see how
he is getting in shape.
About time. Time.
Getting in shape. Where were you before? If what were you in before? If
it's not shape.
I have no idea. There are a lot of things you can be in. Anthony Bowens was definitely in shape. If there was any place in the world that Anthony Bowens was in, it was shape. Before now, what the hell does he look like now?
He could teach geometry with the shape he was in.
Wow.
So I mean, that's like awesome and terrifying. But
I am very intrigued to see what he looks like now that he's gotten himself into shape.
The thing is, like, he looks like $1 million before that.
Uh-huh.
It's time to look like $1 million and $1.
Yeah.
Bowens, come on, get it together.
That's true. Ricochet cut a promo wearing the robe, and talking about boo me all you want. I'm a winner, so you boo into the void. And Swerve's music hits, but it's not Swerve. It's Nana who says, "I asked Swerve not to come here. I'm going to ask you as a man to give me back the robe because of what it means to me, what it has meant to me for 30 years, what it symbolizes to me. So I'm going to give you a chance to be a good man and give me back the robe that you stole." And basically his response is aha, and he leaves, and now I hope that the visual of him coming out in the robe is very solid. I no doubt. However, I want the scissors to be more of his thing, so I kind of want him to show up, give the robe back to Nana in a wonderfully wrapped garment box, and when he opens it up, it's been cut to shreds. Like, it's a different robe. Obviously, they'll find one that's not the one that actually means something, and they'll cut up a prop one, and that'll be the one that he gives to Nana. Like that would be kind of like the absolute biggest asshole thing he could possibly do, which I think is the kind of character they're making Ricochet into.
Yeah, this was a really good promo from him. It seems like he feels very comfortable in this character. Like, I really, really appreciate that we've gotten to see this side of him, because what we mostly saw of him was in-ring superhero, not a lot of mic time. So the fact that he gets whole segments devoted to just this aspect of what he can do is fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved him getting booed so heavily and him being like, this crowd doesn't know what they've got. I'm going to talk to the crowd at home. Like, he's really found the balance between this is actually a lot. Like, he's a nerd psychopath who's incredible in the ring. Like, early Kurt Angle, Jason Jordan mixed with crazy scissor guy.
Yeah.
With a superhero moveset is a lot of things to combine. Right. So a lot of credit to him. I love Nana here. Ian Riccaboni's voice changing to cut in and say, like, as the voice of ROH, like, this feels incredibly uncomfortable to me because of the legacy of Jimmy Britt. Like, him just finding those today, he was on a 3-person desk and he just kind of sat back a little bit. Yeah, still started connecting all these dots, and he's just so damn good. But that, like, hit me in a different way. And then Nana getting a little shine for himself too. And I think, like, he's gonna be depending on Swerve to be able to get them out of this. For all the headway that Nana's made for Swerve in the past years, he's now relying on Swerve to be the one to get them out of this situation, I feel like, soon. So I agree with you. The scissors have to come into play. It's just such an obvious thing that you would cut cut it up. It's right there. So connect those dots. But yeah, the chat's calling this out too. This was one of my notes. You want it? Take it. Take it, Nana, old man manager. Take it off of me. Who can do a flip standing here in it away from you? Take it. Go for it. Go crazy. Good shit. Really good stuff.
Yeah, really good. Before we get to the main event segment, get your super and humper chats in if you want to talk about what's happening at the end of the show. But also announced for Collision that we know of so far, Death Riders versus Garcia and 2.0 for the trios titles. Boy, it would be really great if Daniel Garcia was defending the TNT title and not mixed up in whatever the hell this is. But anyway, we got Jericho versus Bandido for the ROH title, which will end in shenanigans. We got Gabe Kidd doing whatever. Also announced on socials, we got Hologram versus Beast Mordos 3 and Julia Hart versus Queen Aminata.
That's gonna rule, and
that'll be a fun little collision.
I also had the thought earlier, we're gonna have Queen Aminata versus Megan Bain someday, and the world's gonna implode.
Yeah, no, it will. It certainly will. Yeah. Now that seems like a duo to me. Like, they're so damned giant and regal and murderous. Like they could
like the poise with both of them is insane.
But
I will say, when the Opps first got together, before they were officially anything, you and I sat on a stream one time and you were like, that just seems like a weird trio. And now we're like, that is a perfect weird trio. So we'll see. But I'm with you, not sold yet. I agree with you on that.
Okay. So something I'm never going to be sold on. And AEW has done this once before. They've decided who the challenger will be at the pay-per-view. You two guys are going to face each other for the right to face the current champion to face the challenger at the pay-per-view. What is this? Before the first time that, and I can't remember what they did, somebody in the chat will remind me. The first time they did this, I thought it was a clerical error that somebody had read wrong on the air. Why that? Like it should be Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong for the right to face Kenny Omega, and the winner of that gets the champion at the pay. I am morally opposed to the champion having to face a guy for the right to defend his own title at the pay-per-view. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Like, it's the right combination of guys to be fighting each other, but just in the wrong order.
It's a little proving ground-ish, but like adjacent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's definitely weird.
Anyway, Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong is very good and fun.
Nice to see Orange back.
And yes, and also I like how the Undisputed era, they're cool. They're cool with this whole thing. Kyle O'Reilly is still cool with Orange Cassidy, and regardless of whose friend anybody is, Roderick Strong's going to take it to you really hard tonight. You know what I mean?
Orange Cassidy not sold on Adam Cole though, because he did.
Yeah, well, sure. But I also like the repeat the chat them doing a hug between Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly. Them basically acknowledging the conglomeration is dead, but the feeling will last forever. And then they do the hug once, and then the crowd asks for it again, and they oblige. But Kyle O'Reilly has to pull a bunch of faces about it because he's the greatest. He's just like, well, gosh, guys, I don't know. I mean, so many hugs, and it was just really fun.
The best. I love Kyle O'Reilly so much.
Yes. Anyway. The match is very good. Orange Cassidy, I think, was obviously going to be the one to win it. And yes, him versus Takeshita next week will be a lot of fun, but Takeshita shouldn't have to face Orange Cassidy for the honor of facing Kenny Omega. I don't know what that is. And eventually, if you keep doing this, one time the champ's got to lose that match going into the pay-per-view, and that's dumb. Just do it a different
just don't
way.
do this.
Also, Omega just challenged Takeshita on a post-match promo on Grand Slam for the match. Just do that. Why are we doing any of this prior to that?
It's over-engineered, and I
don't
feel
understand.
like the timing of it's just unfortunate because I liked what was laid out to us of Orange Cassidy saying, "I'm the greatest international champ of all time."
Right.
And Takeshita being like, "Till I came along," is good stuff. But that's too many ingredients.
Right.
You've added too much salt and too much sugar to this.
Afterwards, Don Callis and they all attack Orange Cassidy, and he is saved by Kenny Omega. And he holds up. He's the one who comes in contact with the title, holding it up. And Takeshita, I think Kenny is beating Takeshita at Revolution. So maybe they wanted to give Takeshita one more really high profile victory before
over
he
a top
the title.
face. Yeah.
Like, I guess that's how they decided to do it, but they've done this before and it also never made sense then. So like you could figure out a way to get this without doing this invitational thing. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
you could just have Orange Cassidy say, "I'm back. I held that title longer than anyone.
Yeah.
Fight me," and just do it on TV.
Or Don Callis is like, I don't like the tone of your voice, Kenny Omega. Takeshi's already pinned you twice. He has nothing to prove. He'll fight you at Revolution. But first, he's going to take out the greatest international champion of all time, quote unquote, Orange Cassidy. And then he does. And Orange, I would love it if Orange Cassidy didn't appear on tonight and just shows up next week and is like, I was sitting at home. I was just, hanging out. And then I watched the show last week, and Don Callis, he did say I was the greatest international champion of all time. So that's kind of cool. But I wasn't planning on coming back, but sure, I'll face you for that title. Like, just that would be kind of fun. Just him just coming back and doing it. The match between him and Roderick Strong was really good. I can't complain about getting that match, but I can because I'm doing it right now. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make a lot of... Two things can be true. And it is... I'm so glad that Orange Cassidy came back and faced Roddy Strong, another former international champion. And I'm glad... Look, we all knew Orange Cassidy was Teflon. He survived a too long Jericho angle. He survived the Death Riders angle. He's Teflon. He could take whatever loss you need him to. I'm glad that there was no, like... It was just a really great match between two guys who could really wrestle, because I think it's important that as soon as Orange Cassidy's back on screen, you remind us that he's a really great wrestler.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what we got against Roddy Strong, to the surprise of nobody. So, but I agree with you that there's a broken kink in the cycle of that booking playbook. Like, it's very weird. That play is all gummed up.
Yeah.
There's gum in the spokes.
There is. Anyway, that's the deal. So, that was the show. Kenny Omega gets to stand tall, looking at Orange Cassidy, like, hey, maybe you'll beat Takeshita next week. You won't. So, but Kenny Omega, I think we get the thing eventually that you were asking for, which is to merge some titles. I think that
I think
that Kenny wins international title, him versus Okada at All In, both titles on the line. Kenny probably wins, and then together. I think that's probably what they do.
They get thrown in the slushy machine. You got half blue raspberry.
Yeah, there you go.
Half cherry.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good call. My preference is always that belts get used properly, then merged. But they don't do that. Like, look at what's going on with Danny Garcia right now, right? So I think that unifying these two particular ones is a good call. Keep the Continental title, like, rules around it, I think.
Yes. Okay. Reverie is asking a very important question. What do you call the international title and the continental title once they're merged together? And obviously, it's the continental title.
We do too many shows together.
We really do. We really do. We really, really, really do. It's the continental title. N. Simmons saying, I can't believe how good Ricochet is getting on promos. He really bet on himself. Imagine if he stayed in WWE, he'd probably just be just like Finn Balor. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he ever reached the heights of Finn Balor in WWE. It's great that they're letting him be himself and not saying this is the thing you have to be. That wherever you are, doing whatever you do, I hope that your workplace allows you to be the best you can be by not saying we're going to fit you into this slot. Even though you are a round peg, here is a square hole. You're going to go in that now. That's always bad.
I don't think who he really is a nerd that wields scissors and steals ropes, though. But I understand what you're saying, that that he gets used to his capabilities and gets to be himself, portraying whatever he is on screen. I think that's good, and I think it's important.
Right. Kaza86 says that they should give Megan Bain an Obafemi style push.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Yeah, it was very obvious to at the time when they started the Obafemi push. They had a North American title, their secondary title, that was really not doing anything. So you could just when you have Timeless Toni Storm and Mercedes as the champions, it's really hard to be like, okay, 6 weeks from now, you're the champion. Because there's so much more that they feel like they got to do with both of those women as the champion. But I think that maybe it takes longer to get started. But when she does, I've seen enough to think that there's a very good possibility she has a really cool, long title reign in her.
I think so. I think so too. And I honestly, there's so much sympathy gained for Toni Storm right now that her coming in and just cutting her legs out from under her could be really, really compelling. I also really just selfishly want to see Megan Bain and Deanna. That's something I want. Because the Vendetta's been going around saying we have this missing piece. It would be kind of cool if they were like, you should join us. And she was like, I don't need anybody else. I don't know if you've seen me, but if you have eyes, you know I don't need friends around here.
Yeah. And C. Delgado says, what if what's in the briefcase is not the championship, but it is Christian's contract? And when Christian opens it, he gets jumped and cashed in on, and we learn that Christian had a deal to not cash in on Mox.
I think that's more thought than they've put into it, and I like it.
I also agree with that. Nesman says, by Finn Balor, I mean constantly losing, which is true. Which is true, but he still reached heights higher than Ricochet ever did before they started making him lose a whole
on TV consistently, even. But yes, he was also a tag champion.
All right, finally, I think we found out. I think we finally found out when Supercard of Honor is going to be. 4:07 a.m. March 5th. It might happen. Scoops from Crazy Kiss 576.
That is a college friend of mine. Nice to see you in here, Chris.
Scoops
galore.
Yeah, there you
go.
Scoopsy
potatoes.
So keep an eye out for 4:07 a.m. March 5th. Supercard of Honor might happen. However, of course, plans change. So if it doesn't happen, you can't blame me for being wrong about the scoops.
Card subject to change.
There you go, everybody. Luis with a couple of announcements that CMLL announced Hologram and Commander versus the Sky Team of Mascara Dorada and Mystico for CMLL homage. CMLL homage to two legends, and Kanoste Kateshka is coming to CMLL soon. Aramis is finally going to Arena Mexico with 3 exclamation points. Luis is very excited about this. Also, Red Velvet dropped out of her CMLL appearance on March 8th and will be replaced by Taya in the tag title tourney, teaming with Lady Frost. Sorry, Kate, for another tragedy for the ROH champs.
I'm used to it. I'm numb to it at this point. But Red Velvet's been doing excellent work on ROH.
Brandon Ollis saying, wonder if they do Supercard on Revolution weekend, which is 2 weeks from now. So that would be kind of late.
Even for them.
Even for them, that would be.
I don't even know if they're doing ROH tomorrow, because if they're taping Collision tonight and they did Global Wars on Monday, more Jericho Cruise matches, maybe. But
that'll be fun.
Come on now.
I wonder if the Outrunner Luchadors had any more matches in them, because that'll be great. Kate, did you see Influencer Kate drawing?
No.
No,
I don't know.
It's in a photo. Did you do a drawing of Influencer Kate? Maybe that's on the Discord.
My lash place shut down. I'm no longer.
You know why? Because they were giving out free lash jobs to every Tom, Dick, and Harry with 1,000 followers.
Now you're throwing me under the bus as being a bad influencer. End the show. I'm done. I can't work like this.
We'll see you later, guys. Bye.